Good morning, Arnie.
Good morning, Nathalie.
How are you?
Terrific, thank you.
It's always awkward because we've been really talking already 10 minutes, and then I have to say, how are you? Like we've just got online. But we already spoke for 10 minutes before the live.
I'm
But
still fine. I'm still terrific.
it's still fine. Like I'm just checking if you're still fine after 10 minutes. Uh,
Yeah, thank you.
That's perfect. I always like, to connect before so we can make sure we have the technology, we have everything. But Arnie, I want to start first by saying a big thank you. And this I didn't tell you before, and I didn't plan on saying it, but I do want to say it. And I'm hoping that people are going to come live very soon to hear it because you have been one of my first and my most consistent follower with liking every video I make, every post, being there every time. I mean, I saw your name so many times even before I knew who you were and connected with you. It was like, who is this Arnie Draymond who's always liking my videos? And it was even before the 21-day challenge, when I was doing my morning coffee inspiration, and I had less people in the group. I think we had like 200 or 300 people in the group. So anyway, I just wanted to say thank you, and I want to ask you, like, how did you get? I never asked you. How did you know that I existed? How did you come to the group the first time? Like, what was the first connection? I would love to hear.
Great. First of all, the reason I click like frequently is not only because I like it, right? If I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it. But
Okay.
there's a Facebook algorithm that exists that people should know about in terms of marketing and social media. And that is the more you like something, the more it's going to show up in your news feed.
Ah,
And aha. So if I want to make sure that I see your stuff, I just keep liking, and commenting and being an active, interactive person on your site.
right.
I came to you because of Facebook, meaning Facebook has another algorithm that says people you might know, right?
Right.
For potential friends.
Right.
And so I'm not shy, and I friended you, and I saw what you did, and I thought it was fascinating, and I stayed on.
Great. So this is a message to everyone who is coming to listen. I'm just looking at my other screen. Here's the interview. Amazing. Sarah is with us. Amazing. Good morning, Sarah. And I'm sure that everyone else is going to put their names. I want to see who you are, where you're from. If this is the first time you're connecting to our live, how you know Arnie. Do you know Arnie or you don't know Arnie? I know a lot of people connected to listen to this interview, so I'm very excited. But this is a message for all of you. Just click on like. Just do like Arnie. Click on like on the things that you like, because then you'll be able to see more and more. And it's true that the things that you connect with or engage with, Facebook is showing them more. And the things that you don't engage, they
Correct.
disappear. So you say, oh, how come I always see the same groups? Well, it's because you actually interacted with it. But without further ado, I would like to read your bio so that people who don't know who you are have a better idea of who you are. And then we're going to start diving in the interview and asking you amazing questions because you have an amazing journey. And I can't wait oh, we have Joël. Yes, I know Arnie. We spoke about this, that you know Joël. Of course. Yes. Hi, Joël. So amazing. Let's start with, who is Arnie? Arnie Draymond began his journey into two parallel worlds more than 20 years ago. After a successful career in Jewish education in the US, Arnie moved to Israel, where he embarked on a new career path. First, in the tourist services industry, running a youth hotel, then in academics as an admission advisor to foreign students applying to Hebrew University, and finally owning his own business, a personal placement agency doing recruiting and headhunting. After 5 years in the human resource and employment business, an opportunity arose for Arnie and his family to be shlichim, emissaries, for 3 years abroad. And after a rewarding and favorable completion upon his return in 1996, Arnie chose to commence on two simultaneous career paths: web programming and philanthropy consulting. We're going to talk about both today, and it's fascinating. For the first 10 years, he worked full-time in the newly emerging and very exciting world of high-tech and internet startups. Concurrently, he began to take on clients, foundations, and donors to help them properly give their money away. And for the last 15 years, Arnie has been working full-time in the field of philanthropy while still assisting nonprofits and small business owners with their website and social media campaigns. Arnie has been interviewed and quoted in the media for his expertise in efficient philanthropic giving, as well as other fields, including job placement, social media engagement, and networking. Wow. Amazing bio. Woohoo!
Thank you.
We are so happy to have you here. But I have one question for you. And as you know, and everyone, as you know, everyone knows here, we're in the Born to Do business community here. And so every time I interview someone, I speak about the Born to Do. I go back to the source. I speak about where did your passion start? What is your Born to Do? And with you, when reading your bio, I was like, where are we going to go? Which direction? There's so many things to talk about. So my first question to you is, if we talk about the Born to Do, Arnie, what is, in everything that you've done and everything that you do now, what is your Born to Do? This is what I want to hear.
So I believe that it's the philanthropic consulting, which is a very fancy word for just getting involved in the front line nitty-gritty of helping people in need, being a matchmaker for philanthropists and donors of all kinds. I have clients who give 180 shekel and clients who give millions, literally. Annually, I assist donors to give out more than 5 million shekels here in Israel.
Wow.
So, and it comes in all shapes and sizes. And there's just such a great personal satisfaction, inner satisfaction of doing it. It's just wonderful to be able to make that match, and knowing that when I do it, I try to do it in such an efficient and effective manner so that the recipient also is pleased with the result, and that money is not wasted. Tzedakah shekels are very precious. So that whole, it's an aura, it's a halo that goes around the kind of work that I do, and I can get paid for it too. So it's great.
Amazing. So I would love to, we have more people joining. We have David Israel is here. Good morning. We have Chaya, who is here. Amazing. Tell us where you're connecting from, and tell us also if this is the first time. Some of you I see is the first time connecting, so this is amazing. The first time I spoke to you, I thought you were talking about fundraising, that you were collecting money, for the nonprofits, and then you explained to me that it wasn't what you were doing, the philanthropy consulting. So can you explain what is the difference between going and raising funds for nonprofits and the work that you do? I think it's important people understand.
Correct. So I'll start with what I do, and then I'll switch to the other. I do fund spending. That is, I represent foundations in the United States, Canada, England, Switzerland, Australia. People who have either private family foundations or just perhaps received an inheritance and might have some money around. Whatever and again, the amounts are not important. I have clients of all sizes, but I help guide them. I'm a financial advisor in the nonprofit world. Basically, I help people who have the funds and want to make sure that their funds are being spent, again, as efficiently and as effectively as possible. It's called giving wisely. It was a term coined by Professor Eliezer Jaffe, who was a former head of the social work department at Hebrew University and created the Israel Free Loan Association here in Jerusalem. And he wrote a book called Giving Wisely. And his whole point was to really try to do it as targeted as possible, so that as least money as possible goes to waste along the way. Now, on the other hand, you have all of the nonprofit organizations who need the funding. So many of them hire people to do the fundraising for them. Some of them have volunteers who do it, which is fine, particularly those who are experienced in the field and perhaps don't need to take a salary, which is fine. But it's also okay to pay someone to do work. It's fine. You're legitimate, right? And the fundraiser's job is to locate sources of funding for that particular nonprofit. Things that might be most, let's say, the best match for them. And again, there are many ways of doing fundraising. There's grant writing, and there's actually meeting with donors, and there's looking through on the internet to find things. So their job is to go out and look for funds in many, and also running fundraising events, whatever they can do to make it happen.
Right. And so hearing you talking, I'm thinking, if I wanted to give money to a nonprofit, or if anyone wanted to give money to a nonprofit, I think I would listen to my heart. I would say, oh, this organization sounds good, looks good. I've seen them maybe on TV, or I've seen them on the internet, and it feels right. And so I'm just going to give money. So what is the difference between me just following my heart and you saying, no, you have to give wisely? Can you tell us, what is the difference? Why not listen to whatever I feel like doing? Because it's my money, and, I'm just going to give it away to whoever I feel is good according to what I think, right? So
that's great. Yeah, great question. In Hebrew, the Hebrew word for giving is, we use the word tzedakah. And the Hebrew root of the word tzedakah, the three Hebrew letters of tzadi, daled, and kuf, and that comes from the word tzedek, meaning doing the right thing, doing the just and right thing. So I prefer to translate tzedakah as righteous giving, because the English word charity comes from the Latin root caritus, C-A-R-I-T-U-S, caritus. And caritus comes, what we know, the root of the word caring. And the major difference between charity and tzedakah, righteous giving, is that charity you do because you care about something. You give from your heart, and that's what you were just describing. That I want to give to these poor children, or whatever the need might be. And the difference in righteous giving with tzedakah is that, first of all, it's a commandment. It's in the Torah. We are commanded by God to, and then it's one of the most popular, most common commandments we have in the entire Torah. It comes in many different shapes and forms. It comes about treating the stranger properly, and the widow and children, orphans. It talks about leaving parts of your fields for poor people in need. So that it shows up in many different ways throughout the Torah about helping the other. And so, first of all, it's a commandment. Secondly, from our Jewish tradition, the sources tell us that this tzedakah money, this righteous giving money, never belonged to you. It always belongs to the recipient. And if you mishandle, you're only a trustee, right? If you have a fund of some sort and you're the trustee for that fund, and you mishandle the funds, you're responsible. You're criminally responsible for it. And so the whole idea is to give as efficiently and effectively and wisely as possible, so that the recipient, whose money it is, receives as much of it as possible in the manner that is with due respect and honor that is due to that recipient.
Oh, wow. That's fascinating. That's why when I translated, because just for everyone, and we have a lot of people that are joining. We have Charlene, who is saying, Arnie, so good to see you. Sarah Halevi, you know Sarah too. We didn't connect. Sarah, I also know Sarah. So she's saying, hi, Arnie. Elke is here. Amazing. We have a lot of amazing people joining us. So that's really interesting, because when you send your bio, and you did write the word tzedakah in the bio, because I know some people are not Hebrew speakers. I changed it to charity, thinking that I was, translating. And then you said to me, well, it's actually not the right translation. Tzedakah is not charity. It's the righteous giving. And I love your explanation. It really makes sense. But then the next question that comes to mind, and we had nonprofit leaders that that we interviewed here. We had Joel Eckstein with the Eckstein Fund. We had My Israel, and I know there are many others in the community here that are connected somehow with a nonprofit. And so my question to you is, how do you evaluate what is a righteous cause or giving wisely from a cause that is not, from a nonprofit that is not? Like, what are your criteria to say, okay, if I'm gonna, advise someone who wants to give money to a nonprofit, those are the criteria that I'm evaluating. Can you
Right.
share that with us?
Sure, not a secret. In fact, I prefer everyone learn and listen and do it. That's fine. First of all, I strongly believe that 99% of all causes are righteous. Okay, there are a few that might be questionable, and there are some that are run by crooks and thieves, and those we can all agree on. They're a problem. They shouldn't be part of the discussion that we're having. Within the righteous causes, you have some that are just much better at handling the money and the organization than others. A nonprofit is a business. 100%, it's a business. Okay, you're a business person. You understand that. And so, people, unfortunately, to some extent, nonprofits are run usually by people who come from the liberal arts, social work and psychology, or people who just want to do good with whatever background they have, and they don't have the business background. I say unfortunately to some extent, because fortunately they're the people though that we want to be doing good in our society. Right? You don't always want just a cold cut, dry business person making decisions. So you need both.
Right.
And my donors, my foundations that I work for, have always sent me along with the donation. I go in to the nonprofit, I attach myself to them, and I become a consultant free of charge to the nonprofit. To them, and wherever they need it. It might be in HR and personnel, it might be PR, marketing, social media, website work, it might be fundraising consulting, organizational consulting, whatever they need. I'm happy to do. I've gained a lot of experience over the years, and anything I can share and help with, I'm there. What I look for are two main areas, because again, the first obvious area would be, are they doing good work? Again, I think 99% of them are doing good work. Nice. I don't think that's the issue. So you say to me, well, I'm going to give to a place I care about because I know they do good work. I agree with you. They do good work. Right. But are they doing it with the most efficient and effective manner of your precious tzedakah shekels? Right? Are they using the righteous giving money that they've put aside to be used properly? So I look very carefully at the finances. I do a lot of deep dive. It's called due diligence in the financial world, forensic accounting. I really spend time reviewing all aspects of the finances to make sure that it's as proper as possible. In addition to interviewing the people, meeting with the staff, meeting with clients if possible, just to get a feel for the organization. So both of those things go together. Now, anyone can do either of those. You don't need me to do it. I'm putting myself out of work, right? But like anything, you can repair your own plumbing if something goes wrong in your bathtub, right? You could, and there's YouTube videos, and you can learn how to do it. It's fine, or you can call someone in to do it. So it's up to you. It's, depending on how professional you need and how much you want to do it, but all the information today, wow, 2020, all the information is online. Every nonprofit has to report to the registrar of nonprofits here in Israel. They have to file on GuideStar, guidestar.org.il. All of their financial reports show up. The salaries are listed, and you have a lot of information there. Then you have to sort of understand the information. That's really where I come in, is more than just looking at the data. It's making sense out of it and trying to give you a picture in your language, in your terms, so you understand what does this mean.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to give you examples if you need.
For sure. No, I was thinking, and we have Arnie who just joined. Hi, Arnie. And I would love for everyone who is joining and who is here, if you have any questions for Arnie, because I have tons of questions, because just when we talk, it's like, oh, what about this? What about this? But if you are if you have a question, maybe you have a nonprofit, maybe you know a nonprofit, or maybe you know someone who wants to donate or be the that organization, that foundation, then this is the time to ask Arnie for your questions. And also, how is this resonating? Is this new for you? Because for me, I know the difference between charity and righteous giving is new, and I really thank you for this distinction, because I think it's really important. And so if anyone else is resonating with that, or the way, maybe it's going to change the way you do give money and the way you do give, not charity, but righteous giving, tzedakah. So please just type in your comment or your questions, and I'll for sure pick it up and bring it into the conversation. But my question for you, which I'm always curious, the people that are giving large amount of money, not the people that are giving smaller amount, which we probably are ourselves, or we know people around us, but the people that are giving really large sums of money that are in your clients. We say that the decision process is an emotional process. We say that whenever we decide to do something, we think it's a rational decision, but usually it comes in our brain from our emotional process, and it's something that just we say, okay, that's it, I'm going for it, I'm doing it. And so what are the profiles of those high-level donors, or people, foundations? Do they go with their guts and say, Arnie, find me the nonprofit that is helping children, because that is my cause and that's what I want to help? Or do they go with the rational financial and say, Arnie, just find me the most, I'm not going to use the term return on investment, because that doesn't fit really the nonprofit, but the most financial, wise information. So do they have this emotional connection to the cause, and for them it's important to be I don't know, maybe for the periphery of Israel, or maybe they have a cause, or do they rely on your financial observation and go with this, whatever the cause is, they want to make sure their money is invested, quote unquote, in the right place? So what is the profile usually that you meet?
Yes. Yes. Donors come in all shapes and sizes. They have, their pet causes, things that are important to them. It might be something personal that happened in their life, or in a family member's life, a grandchild's life, a cousin, sister, brother, parent, whatever it might be. And they feel very strongly attached to that. But again, just within that, they'll still want to be sure that the money is being used properly. Okay. So just because, we'll pick one, someone had cancer, they don't give to the American Cancer Society, because the money it's hard to trace exactly what's happening there. Right. So rather, it would be better to find, let's say, people with cancer, specifically people in need with cancer, and see what you can do to make their lives more comfortable. Right? So that the topic is the same, but it's a more targeted giving. Right?
I see.
You mentioned earlier Joel Eckstein of the New Eckstein Fund, and you mentioned My Israel with Danny Franks. Right. So those are excellent examples of how a nonprofit and foundation should work to help others with targeted giving. Right. And people can go check out myisraelcharity.org and k-eckstein.org for the Eckstein Foundation.
Yes, for sure. We know them, and we know that they're amazing nonprofits, and we're very happy that they're part of the community. And so, do you have any leverage with the donors? Do they listen to you if you say, oh, I think it's better this, or I think it's better that? Is it, do they listen, or are they just, no, this is what I feel like doing, and I'm going to do it anyway, and whatever you say, is it easy for you to convince them?
Yeah, so I only take on clients who will listen to me.
That's a good thing.
It limits the number of clients that I can have. which, which yes, which keeps my business small business. However, again, you talk about born to do and what I want to do. I'm not interested in being a rubber stamp clerk for a foundation that just wants someone to collect paperwork from local nonprofits and pass them on to someone else and then be a go-between. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in being a serious part of the decision-making process. I want to know that my understanding and recommendations are listened to. They don't always have to be followed. That's fine. But they at least, I'm a serious player at the table, right? Yeah. I'll give you an example. I had someone who was approached by a nonprofit here in Israel. They were asked to donate $250,000 towards a particular project, which is easy for him to do. It was great. They didn't know that I'm his representative here in Israel. And so he contacted me to check it out. We checked it out very carefully, and in the end, I recommended not to donate to them at all. Now, because of where he lives and his community and his peer group and who he sees, in the community, he didn't feel it was right to give zero, so he gave $25,000. Now, $25,000 is a lot of money, can be used for all kinds of things. Right. However, he had to weigh more than just his own, his personal needs, his local needs, and the actual tzedakah that was being used. Right. So, you win some, you lose some, and then you got compromises all the way.
Right. No, but that's a great example of how, it's not black or white. It's also sometimes you have to make a decision in between. And what I find fascinating in your journey is that you had a career in the US and then you came to Israel and you had 3 or 4 different career paths. So can you tell us more about that? How was it, first of all, to leave, the career that you had in the US? And I know people are either thinking of making Aliyah or for sure made Aliyah, and Aliyah means moving to Israel, coming to live here, leaving the country where you're from, and coming to live in this new country. So can you tell us about that, how it evolved for you and how you came, about to meet this new career of being a philanthropist consultant? How things happen, what maybe that could inspire other people that are also looking for their path or also going from one career to the next. What is the connection that you see between all those different career paths?
The connection, I think, is networking. It's people, right? People kind of show up in your life at certain times, and they're like the signpost of which way to turn. Either way you turn is fine, but sometimes, the reward is better one way than the other. So, sometimes you just take a chance, right? I made Aliyah in 1984. I moved to Israel here. I guess that's 36 years ago. And being a Jewish educator, even then, I knew coming to Israel, particularly I wanted to live in Jerusalem, I was going to be a small fish in a big pond, and there was no need for a Jewish educator in Israel and Jerusalem, particularly with poor Hebrew skills at the time. So my motto was, I would rather be pumping gas at a gasoline station in Jerusalem than teaching Hebrew made Aliyah out of Atlanta, Georgia. Wow. And it didn't matter what I did here. And soon enough, I was lucky. I took on positions, as you mentioned, the tourism industry at Hebrew University for a few years. And then I had an opportunity to own my own business in the headhunting and recruiting. And that was great.
All this was from meeting people, from opportunities, from connections, all this.
Yes. Wow. People say I have a unique knack for landing on my feet.
Okay.
So, and I don't look at it quite like that because I wasn't being thrown off of any buildings that I had to land on my feet. It's just, try this, do that. Hey, it's like being recruited for something. And it wasn't necessarily a higher level position, a senior level position, or more money, or any, not at all. It was just another opportunity in a different field or a different way to see if that would work. And what was interesting is at the time, it was also just the beginning where, in the old days, you went to work and that's where you stayed for 30, 40, 50 years. It didn't matter if you were, again, a plumber, electrician, scientist, whatever your lawyer, whatever your career was. If you were a assembly line worker in a auto manufacturing plant, that's what you did for 30, 40 years. Maybe you got a senior level position, but you were still on the plant floor supervising other plant workers, right? And I didn't want to necessarily go that path. I just really wanted to keep searching around. And at the time, it was becoming a little bit more acceptable to only be at a job for 2 years or 3 years without being looked down upon as being unstable or unsteady. And then the opportunity to go on shlichut, to be an emissary on behalf of the Jewish agency here. And I served in the United States for 3 years, working in the Jewish community in Columbus, Ohio. And then that's where the real turn became. My mentor in all things related to philanthropy and tzedakah is a guy named Danny Siegel. Check him out at DannySiegel.com. And particularly his articles and essays. He's written over 40 books about tzedakah and some prose and poetry related to it. And I really learned from him. And so when I was coming back to Israel in 1995, 96, he asked me to help represent his foundation that he has called the Ziv Tzedakah Foundation. He felt already then that it's really important to have somebody on the ground following the money, checking where the donations are going, making sure everything is okay. Since then, of course, almost every foundation has created the idea of having a representative. I'm not saying he was the first, but he was among the first to understand the importance of making that happen.
Wow.
And I took that on very part-time. And I also got very lucky when I came back. When I was in the States and from 93 to 95, I taught myself internet programming. And I thought that was a fascinating new tool. And I came back, the Ministry of Labor here offered a 6-month retraining course because I was a liberal arts, social science kind of guy. And I went into the hard sciences of computer programming. So I had a 6-month internet programming course paid for by the ministry with a stipend every month so you could live. And I went on those 2 careers, and it was great being part of the startup world, the excitement of high tech and new technology and working with tons of people full of energy and passion about creating this new technology.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, I hear you talking and I'm like, people say you're right, that it's also a mentality and a culture and a generation also, that it's true that now when you change jobs or you look for your path or you look for your, dream career, people don't look down at you. They're like impressed. Wow, you're looking for, what you really want to do, what your passion is. But it's true that, even in my times, it was really respected to be a long time in the same company and to really show that you were going to the same path. And what I love about the way you say it is that you were basically motivated by your curiosity and by opportunities. It was like open doors. And then you never know. When you open all the doors, you never know. You might fall, on a door that you like, and that is gonna, you're gonna keep. So I think it's amazing. It's a great also philosophy for people that are still looking for their path or still looking for, they like, oh, I'm looking for my one thing. And I'm a true believer in, you have one thing, but your one thing can be opportunities, and your one thing can be meeting people or being curious or trying things out. That could be your one thing. And that means that you'll, have many experiences because you believe in opportunities and in networking. So I think it's amazing that you believe in yourself, and today you have those 2 careers. So we spoke a lot about the philanthropy, and you also have this web / social media / internet / marketing. So tell us more about that, because I think that's also connected to the gift that you want to make to the community. Sure. So I think it's a great way to also transition to the gift. And guys, I'm so happy you said good morning, but I didn't see any questions or comments or anything that you want to share with Arnie, or how it's resonating, or about his career, his journey. I would love to see, before we have to end this amazing interview, to get some of your feedback, so that we see that you are interacting with us, because we can keep on talking like this for a long time, but we'd
With
love for
pleasure.
you to join in the conversation. So tell us more about this technology side of you that
Yeah.
seems so not connected to the philanthropy, but apparently it is. So tell us more.
Yeah. So when I did my internet retraining course, and I went to work in high tech for about 8 to 10 years till the internet bubble burst a little bit. And by that time, I was also starting to take on more clients in the philanthropy world. So if I look at it, I know you can't have more than 100% in life. So if I work full time in high tech, then I have zero time in philanthropy. That's not true. So, but if I have to do it in percentages, so 90% high tech and 10% philanthropy is how I started. And today I'm 90% philanthropy and 10% in high tech. I still maintain a lot of work in there. What's happened over the last 20, 25 years is by staying on and understanding the cutting edge technologies in web development and web programming, and then what we now call social media, uh, is that I've been able to help the people that I consult to, particularly the nonprofits, because again, remember, I attach myself to the nonprofit. The donor will make a $10,000 donation for project X, Y, and Z. I come along with it, and I can help them. And a lot of times, again, the people involved in this work are not sophisticated in anything to do with internet and social media. So over the years, I've gained a lot of experience in social media and web programming, web design. I'm not a real graphic artist. I'm not a real computer programmer, but I speak that language and I can do that kind of work, and I can help people, certainly advise them if they need someone more professional in any field to do it. And so I also do a lot of, on the side, right, mentoring for Olim. I do a lot of mentoring, and that has also been an area where not only can I help them in job placement and resume writing from my experience as having owned a business in that field, but I also help them present themselves. And so one of the things I like to do is I call it how to promote yourself in social media while pretending not to. Because a lot of people are afraid to put themselves out there. I'm not. You can see I'm everywhere. I'm not afraid. That's just the kind of person I am. But a lot of people just don't want to be seen as being pushy or over the edge. And so there are a lot of ways you can put yourself out there while pretending not to, so that people will see you. They will get, you noticed my name.
Right.
Early. You mentioned, because, there's Arnie Draymond. Who's this Arnie Draymond guy? That's what I do.
Right.
I mean, it's not stalking. I don't think it's creepy. I hope not. But, it's in the world of Facebook, it's acceptable to click like on something, right? So that's okay.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah. So that's what I do. And my offer, my gift, by the way, the gift works for both, meaning I am happy to consult with anybody who wants better understanding of how to give money to tzedakah, where to give, how to give, when to give, how often to give, how much to give, absolutely free, 1 hour free consulting on me. I just want you to be better at giving. I'm also happy to give you a 1 hour free in social media consulting, particularly for small business owners, and nonprofits. I'm here.
Wow, that is really very, very generous, and especially now in these times where everyone has to learn the technology. And I see so many people that are from a different generation, not old. Yeah. They're not necessarily old, but they're just from a different generation, and they have, it's a challenge to get this reflex of technology. So I think that this is an amazing gift, and if I were you, I would jump on it. So what we'll do is that after the live, Arnie is going to go in the comments below the live, and he's going to put his email, and then you will be able to write him an email and say, after the live, I saw you in the Born to Do Business community. I would love to take your offer for an hour consulting, and then you can continue to exchange by email. Charlene is saying, you're the best, Arnie. Thanks. Yeah. Amazing. I think you already have one person interested in your offer. So Arnie, thank you so much for sharing your experience, your expertise, your time, your journey, your passion. I think you made it really clear, at least for me, what you do and how important it is to know how you give the money. Charlene is asking, have you seen Netflix, The Social Dilemma? What do you think? So Charlene, it's so interesting you're asking this question, because last night, after our networking, I was like, okay, maybe I'll watch a Netflix, and I saw The Social Dilemma, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do this now. I'm going to keep this for a time, because I heard it was kind of difficult, to watch this. And so I want to watch it, but I'm kind of keeping it for a time where maybe I don't have to go to sleep right after. I don't know. But have you watched it, Arnie?
I have not watched it. I've read about it. I've read quite a bit about it, actually. My feeling is it's very typical of somebody who wants to show one point of view in particular, and then delves into that point of view and makes that point of view with very convincing information, facts, and figures. And that's 100%. I'm not saying there's no lying going on. It's 100% true. Right. Just know that there's another side to the story, which obviously, right. Yeah, they're not telling. However, I'm still shocked that in 2020 there are people who are surprised that TikTok and Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn are collecting your information, are following you, are knowing what, like,
this is obvious.
Yeah, like, no, but they all do that. I mean, it's Gmail, Google. That's how do the companies make money? They make money from advertising. How do they make money from advertising? It's targeted advertising. How do they know what you like? How many times have you seen on Facebook someone post something like, I was just thinking about, going to Paris, and here all of a sudden there are 37 offers.
Right.
They know.
Yeah,
and
it's the name of the game. It's the name of the game.
Yeah.
It's obvious that this is their business model, and I agree with you. It's also, for me, very naive to think that we would be able to benefit from those services for free, because we can use
Correct.
Google for free, we can use Facebook for free, and not have to
Right.
pay somewhere. I don't see in which world this happens. Like, if you are using something
Right.
for free, you're gonna have to pay something at some point. That's it makes total sense.
Yeah.
So I guess, but maybe it's a wake-up call but I think we need it. I think with the social media, I think what Facebook is doing, even if we can criticize and we can say that they're in terms of their fake news and their how they promote they're really not really fair in the way they promote racial or all the things that we can really criticize them. I still think that this is a tool that we can use for business, that is a tool that we can use for networking. And we see in Corona time how this has become, part of our daily lives. So
yeah, it's fine for personal use too. You just have to be smart about what you share in public. It would be, pretend you wrote that Facebook post on a sign or that Twitter tweet on a sign and went out into Times Square in New York City and held it up all day long.
And then say, oh my God, I saw it.
Right. People know that whatever my personal situation, my health issues, my personal status issues, my job issues, they're all out there. Oh my God. Yeah. You put it out there, not me, right?
Exactly.
You can go through my Facebook page. I will tell you, go back for every post for the last 10 years. There's so little of my personal information out there. And yet people think they know me very well. Ha ha.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. I'm the same. I really don't post personal, like real personal things. I post.
No, that's not the place for it.
Right, that I feel can be, either helping others or it can be an example, it can be inspiring, but I don't, my personal life, I have my friends and that's fine, we can, so Good. That's great. I mean, we can go on forever. There's so many topics
thank you.
that we can talk about. I was so happy that you were our guest speaker today, Arnie. Thank you for everyone
Pleasure.
who joined today. We are at the end of the week. Believe it or not, it's Thursday. We have the Shabbat, the weekend coming up. So I really want to wish everyone a restful and quiet and peaceful Shabbat and weekend to take the time to really regain our energy. And on Sunday morning, I'm looking forward to see you for our meditation Sunday at 9:30. I don't have the theme yet because I always, get inspired somewhere, somehow. And then on Sunday morning, I say, hey, this is the theme. So just follow me on Sunday morning at 9:30. And until then, have a great day and end of the week and weekend. Thank you, Arnie. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nathalie. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And have a great day, everyone. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.